All right, let's hop on over to the other most in-demand position from a weekly basis. That's the running back position. And if you take yourself back, close your eyes. It's Thursday. You listen to Al Michaels. You listen to Kirk Herbstreit. Kirk Herbstreit probably said something about college. And oh dear, oh no, the Bears running back just got hurt. Oh no, they just lost a second ring. Oh shoot, a third running back on the Chicago Bears got hurt in one game. They started having to give the ball to their fullback, Kerry Blasingame. And by the way, I hope you didn't close your eyes if you're listening while you're driving. That was really irresponsible of me. In a podcast format, tell you to close your eyes. I'm very sorry about that. Hopefully you were not driving. And if you were driving, hopefully you just didn't listen to that part. Don't take that advice. Take other advice. But anyway, it's DAndre Foreman. We have seen him have some success in the past. He had 6 games as a top 30 option at running back last season from week 7 on in Carolina after the Chris McCaffrey trade. Look, he's not the most explosive running back, but he can carry a load for a couple games, though. And I haven't seen anything yet about Khalil Herbert's injury status, but this does open up the opportunity for DAndre Foreman to go out there and be a guy who I thought was a bit of a sleeper going into this season. It did not shake out that way, but, you know, you're going to miss on some round 14 picks from time to time, aren't you? I think that, they're facing Minnesota this week, and I do expect it to kind of be a blowout. But if Chicago's able to hang around a little bit, then I think you can see Foreman get some work done. And my next running back to pick up for the week is a guy who, I'm not going to lie, I do not know a whole lot about. It's Amari Demarado. That's spelled with an E, by the way. E-M-A-R-I. Demarado. He is a running back for the Arizona Cardinals, and he was the guy after James Conner left early this past week with an injury. He is the clear-cut RB2 out there in Arizona. And look, James Conner's been useful this season. Once again, he just gets the work, and that plays, as like an RB2 candidate. And if he's going to miss time, then and Demarcado is going to step into that role, I don't think he'd be quite as good at it as James Conner. I think that he would be more of a low-end RB2 or a flex option, but definitely a guy, this week we don't have too many bye weeks, but in other weeks we will have bye weeks where you're going to need to play some guys you may not be the most cozy with playing in your lineup. This could be a guy that you have to throw in there in a pinch, and I can see him getting 12 to 14 carries. And you never know what's going to happen with that. We'll see. This past week, he had 10 carries, went 45 yards and a touchdown. If you're in a total pickle and you have to play that, I think you'd be okay with that outcome. Next up, another rookie running back, and we've talked about him a couple times now. That's Kendre Miller, the rookie for New Orleans. They've got Houston this week, a team you can certainly run on. He had 12 carries for 37 yards last week, as well as 4 catches for 53 yards, and he played 36% of the snaps in his 3rd NFL game. He's getting more involved in his New Orleans offense. Alvin Kamara is in there. He is back, but we've seen 2 running backs be able to handle some workload out there in New Orleans in the past. This could also be a guy who gets some work, and if nothing else, could be a pretty high-end handcuff option for you. 2 more. Chuba Hubbard. We talked about him a little bit last week as well. He continues to cut into Miles Sanders' playing time. My hesitation here, though, is that even if a guy does take over that job, I don't think it's the most fruitful offense for a running back. It's been great for Adam Thielen, and that's pretty much it. There's just not a lot of touchdown opportunities. There's not a lot of receiving opportunities out of the backfield. So even though Chuba Hubbard is cutting heavily into the playing time of Miles Sanders, I think it's one of those things that realistically it's more of a negative on Miles Sanders than it is really a positive, useful recommendation for Chuba Hubbard. One last guy to mention here, and that's Jordan Mason. He looked quite good on Sunday night in a blowout win over the Dallas Cowboys. Look, Elijah Mitchell's injured right now, and like I just said, Justin Jefferson is out. Christian McCaffrey, we know the injury issues he's had in the past. It's been a while now, though, since McCaffrey has had an injury problem, but we do know how valuable the running back in San Francisco always is. And Jordan Mason, not a bad guy to throw in the back of your bench. If you've got a spot, I would not drop anyone you really care about necessarily for it. I still think when Elijah Mitchell is back, he is that RB2 in the offense. But Jordan Mason, a name to definitely know. One other guy to mention for the running back position as well, Jeff Wilson Jr. of the Miami Dolphins. Just got breaking news here. Devon Achane, the exciting, dominant, dynamite, awesome running back for the Dolphins, placed on IR with that knee injury that he did suffer. It didn't seem that serious on Sunday, but he is going to be out for at least 4 weeks as well. They do say that it's not season ending. At least I hope it's not. So that's encouraging. But Jeff Wilson, definitely a guy to also throw on there. He is actually just coming off of IR. He suffered an injury back in the preseason. I know, me and Tanner talked about him also being a sleeper among these Dolphins running backs back in the preseason. We thought that he was the guy who could mix in. Last season, once they traded for him from San Francisco, he immediately stepped into a large role for the Dolphins and was kind of lead running back even ahead of Mostert. And so he is definitely a guy to go grab. Maybe I should have mentioned over the last couple of weeks because he could have been an IR stash. Hopefully you did have him on your IR. I did in one league where I drafted him and stashed him on IR this entire time. You need some good injury luck, though, in order to get away with that for 5 weeks, right? But definitely a guy there also. He's probably my number one running back even ahead of DAndre Foreman.